Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my first viewing reaction to Doctor Who. Just sorting out my pajamas, by the way. Doctor Who Series 13, Episode 4, or Flux, Chapter 4, Village of the Angels. Okay, so first viewing reactions. Only got about 10 minutes to do this, maybe 11 if we're lucky. Right, so Village of the Angels. I thought this was a brilliant episode. I thought this was absolutely fantastic. It was a great re-showcase of the Weeping Angels. Maxine Alderton, for the second time, proved she can do gothic horror following the haunting of Viola Diodati from last series, the best episode of Series 12. And Chris Chibnall continues to show his strengths of writing the Weeping Angels really well, that he's done so far this series and in Revolution of the Daleks. I'll quickly get out my most negative point is the whole Bell story. I'm sure that's going to tie in and tie up really well in the next two episodes. Well, fingers crossed anyway. And I still thought that was pretty good for what it was. I thought that was still well handled. But I think when you're judging the episodes and say, oh, as a whole, it is the weakest part of the story because it is mostly for the continuing narrative of the series, which is fine, but it doesn't really have much to do with the Weeping Angels story. A bit like how it didn't really have much to do with the whole Doctor and Company going on their separate timeline stories last episode. I'm sure it's going to come together next week or the week after, hopefully at least. But for this episode, it felt like a bit of a distraction. That being said, it was a good way to show Azur, one of the Ravagers, and also show some of the people being transported through Passenger really well. So it did help. It did work in that sense. I think Blake Harrison's character could have been in those scenes a bit more. It could be more of a not in those scenes a bit more. I think he needs to be a bit more of a proactive character in the next two episodes to worth actually being in this one, because he's quite a well-known name, quite a well-known British actor. So I think maybe he needs to be in the next two episodes to make it more worth him being cast in this such a insignificant role, or not very significant role in this episode. Especially as he's kind of the typical funny character, funny personality-like character for the majority of the episode. I think he needs to be in the next two episodes, or one of the next two episodes, to warrant him being here. But yeah, I thought the Bell stuff was still well handled for what it was. As for the main plot, amazing. I thought this was a great and brilliant story. The way the Doctor got the Weeping Angel out of the TARDIS was clever, and then they went to the village and they tried to find this missing girl, Peggy, who does eventually get back to 1967 after being she gets transported to 1901, but she does get back to 1967. Being a Weeping Angel story, that she grows up and arrives in 1967 the long way round. She has to wait till she's an adult, and an elderly adult at that. So yeah, but I won't spoil much more about that. But let's just say that within the next couple of episodes, because of what happens at the end, within the next couple of episodes, Peggy will not be having a lift back to 1967. We've also got this great professor character who I really like. He reminds me quite a bit of the whole stuff with him and the equipment he has, and how his house and stuff, and him being willing to go with whatever the Doctor says, almost whatever, but being a pretty good ally in this episode, really likable ally as well. He reminds me a lot, the episode reminds me a bit of Hyde from Series 7 with Professor Plummer and Emma, I think. Professor Plummer and Emma in that episode. And this episode, I think, takes some inspiration from that, or at least it has some similarities to that with the Professor in this episode and with Claire, who, from what it sounds like, she didn't meet when we got to a Halloween Apocalypse. She hadn't met the Doctor before. She was just aware of her, thought she knew her, and then she got sent back by a Weeping Angel to arrive here. I won't go into spoilers in this reaction. I'll save that for the review, the full-length review, where I've got more time to talk about it. And also, that's going to be on the Universals, by the way, not the main channel. I'll do a link video to that, and then you have to go to Universals to watch that. as I've got episode 4 of this series to do on that channel, as we picked and choose. But so yeah, Universal for episode 4 review. Check it out when it comes. Then there'll be a link video on this channel when it does. But yeah, I thought the relationship between these characters were really well done, and I thought the story and the twists around them worked well. I like how it's taking a lot of, like the Sontarans took a lot of Sontaran-y stuff for War of the Sontarans. I thought this took a lot of Weeping Angel lore really well and adapted and merged it into the story, and also took some new inspiration, new stuff for the Weeping Angels, and I thought that was pretty clever. The only thing I'm not so keen on is the whole Weeping Angels killing someone the second time round. Like they can't transport someone back in time a second time, or multiple times. You can only do it the one time. So if they catch you the second time, that's it, you're dead. And when that happens, you turn into some sort of a CGI dust thing. Like they don't just snap your neck or something. They turn you into the atoms. I didn't really think that didn't really fit with the Weeping Angels. For starters, the whole turning them into atom things, a very obvious CG. I think they could have done it a different way, even if you didn't want to go too gory. It could have been done a different way. And also, Angels Take Manhattan, we did see characters touched by angels more than one time. Rory got sent back in time twice, and also shifted across space one time in between. He got touched by at least an angel, about Angel or Cherub about at least 3 times in that episode. One to be sent back in time from 2012 to 1938. Second time to be moved from Grail's house, I believe it was, to Winter Key. And the third time was, again, 2012 back to 1938 when they got back to the graveyard in the present day. And he lived until he was 82 years old. And we know he lived long enough. He didn't die when he went back to 1938, because not only did he live till 82 years old, but we also had the P.S. Minisode, which was written by Chris Chibnall himself. And also, there was also that lovely final page of the Doctor Who magazine comic strip that came out in December 2012 on the, which was a story about Amy, Rory, and also Mel's from Let's Kill Hitler in their childhood. It was a nice little Christmas story of there, and the final page was a collage of Amy and Rory's life in America growing up from 1938 to their passing. I thought that was a lovely page, by the way, Doctor Magazine. Well done. It's 9 years old, or it will be next month, but yeah. But yeah, I thought the whole Weeping Angels killing people because they can't be sent back in time the second time round doesn't really work for the Weeping Angels. Yeah, with Weeping Angels. Yeah, the whole stuff with Angels Take Manhattan, they were some sort of farm or whatever, playing a little bit of a game. But I still think it's out of character for the Weeping Angels just to kill somebody instead of sending them back in time a second time. I think it's more beneficial for them to actually take more of the life energy from that person. Or at the very least, can we have them shown being killed in a less silly CGI way? That's my only real problem with this episode, is that bit. I won't say who or what happens, but some people die. Well, some people die because they've been sent back in time, and then they get to another angel and it does something it kills them because they can't be sent back in time again. The only kind of theory I've got is that they've already got 1901 and 1967 as temporal extraction points, so they can't really send anyone back any further because they didn't have a previous extraction point. They just turn up somewhere. They turn up in the village or somewhere else in another time as per normal. So maybe in this episode they decide, don't bother sending them back a second time, we'll just kill them. But that's not really how it's said. It's said they just kill them instead of being able to send them back a second time. So that kind of devaluates it a little bit. Everything else is perfect, is pretty much works with what we got. Either captures what we know before really well, or adapts it into a new way to show it. And I'll talk more about that in the review. But that was but the whole killing them instead of sending them back a second time, I thought that doesn't sound like the Weeping Angels, unless it's because of the whole temporal extraction thing. It feels out of character for the Weeping Angels, to be honest. And if they did want to kill somebody, again, could have done it a bit better than CGI dust atom things. I suppose it's because it's in daylight, they can't do the quick movement stuff, but also characters were looking at the Weeping Angels, so it shouldn't have been able to move in the first place. Same problem Angels Take Manhattan had when Rory was sent back in time, and Amy, actually. Oh well. Yeah, I suppose for every pro, there's always there's a bit that some people always miss. I say some people. Chris Chibnall this time around, Stephen Moffat on Angels Take Manhattan. But anyways, that's probably my only nitpick. But the rest of the episode works really well. I think it's a really great story, and there's a lot of great character interactions, especially Doctor Professor Claire. What's going on with Claire is pretty interesting, and the ending. Oh my gosh, the ending! I think we got a new Face to Raven style ending. Except this is a better episode than Face to Raven. We got a great ending. It's really I'm really looking forward to seeing how this ties up in the next two episodes. It's not just tying in with this episode or the series arc. It's the series long story. It's also tying in with the whole stuff about the division. So there's some really interesting stuff that I hope is going to be explored in the next two episodes. We've got 2 more episodes to wrap up the whole Flux stuff, and we've got until next autumn to wrap up the Timeless Child division stuff. Hoping more of it is solved by New Year, and then we can have something a bit. And then the grand finale is going to be a bit bigger. Maybe the consequences of finding out the information. I don't know. We've only got 5 episodes to wrap this all up. 2 for the series, 3 for the specials. We've only got 5 more episodes. It's time to start wrapping stuff up, and I'm really looking forward to, especially with the Flux stuff with this series, because we've only got 2 more episodes with that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that's handled, and I'm pretty interested seeing that, as well as also how some characters are stuck in the past and seeing how they're going to either get back to the future or they're going to try and resolve the situation from their point of view. It's a really great ending, and it's sets up the next episode really well, which is also looking pretty interesting with all of these characters coming together, including what it appears the return of Unit. And we thought they were only going to come back for the centenary special when they were rumored to be spotted on location filming. Well, it looks like they're coming a couple of episodes earlier. Maybe this will allow them to come back in the anniversary special a bit sooner. Not sooner, as in we'll actually know who they are when the new audiences will know who they are when the anniversary special comes around, and we've been reintroduced to them. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, next week looks really good. This week was really great, and I thought it was a brilliant episode. I think it's probably the best Weeping Angel story since Blink. It's not as good as Blink, obviously, but I think it's probably my second favourite, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the adventure continues. And I don't know whether this will be the last time we'll see the Weeping Angels in this series. I was expecting this might be, but considering that ending, I think they might be sticking around for at least one more of the next 2 episodes, maybe even both. So, yeah, Village of the Angels. That was my quick, rushed, hurried reaction, because I've only had a few minutes. Oh, dang, I've gone over time. But yeah, I thought this was a really great episode and really loved it. I think this is easily the best of Series 13, despite Water Sontarans being a close second, and the best episode since the Haunting of Villa Diodati. At the moment, despite my gripes with that, the whole angel death thing, the death by angel thing, and the bit about Belle's story not quite tying in with the whole story, I'd still probably, despite those criticisms and maybe some other nitpicks, I'd probably still give this story a 10 out of 10. Yeah, it's the 10 out of 10 episode of the series, or at least the first one if either of the other two can get there, or if Water Sontarans goes up in opinion. But the review's already gone out, but maybe it will on the third viewing. But yeah, it did come damn close. So yeah, maybe I should have given it a 10 actually. Again, maybe when we get to the ranking. But yeah, Village of the Angels, fantastic episode, loved it. So thank you so much for watching this reaction, my first viewing reactions to Village of the Angels. I'm going to hopefully try and review Once Upon a Time tomorrow, hopefully, and then try and get to the and then review Village of the Angels the day after. Hopefully, I'll rewatch that before reviewing it. And again, like I said, that one will be on the Huluversals, and the link video will be on here. Thank you so much for watching this reaction. Stay tuned for the upcoming 2 reviews. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.